If you're working in sales and you want to help more people and have more success, then start assuming the close. Most people have a limiting belief or a set of limiting beliefs that other people don't want what they have to offer. People automatically assume what's in other people's heads. And more interesting is that most of the time they're wrong. A super common example of this is assuming that your prospect doesn't want to buy what you're selling or can't be helped by the solution that you're providing. But a lot of times, companies, solutions, and products, they exist and are successful for a reason. They actually are solving a problem that a lot of people have. Here's a real life example of this. If you are sick with something and you go to your doctor, then they will prescribe you medicine to fix whatever you're sick with, and they will assume the close. They will assume that you will take the medicine and will want the medicine that they're prescribing for whatever they're sick with. But so often in salespeople refuse to assume the same kind of close. So a classic example of that is if you jump on a meeting with a customer and you know there's only 15 minutes, but you know that figuring out whether or not your problem can solve their needs will take more than that, then a lot of the time a salesperson will just assume that the customer doesn't want to stay on the phone with them for another 5 or 10 or 15 minutes. Instead, you should assume the close, and I'll show you right now how to do that in a really polite, easy way. Instead of saying, "Hey, I assume you have a meeting after this, but I'd love to talk with you more," that's assuming that you'll fail. Switch it and say this instead. "I know our call's for 15 minutes today. Can you run over, or do you have a meeting right after this?" What we've done here is we've switched from assuming that a customer can't do something because they have a more important decision or task ahead of them. We've switched to assuming that unless a customer already has a meeting lined up right after this, that of course they would be willing and want to stay on the phone with you because what you're providing, what you're evaluating with this customer is the most or one of the most important things that they're going to do this day or this week. And if you're saying to yourself, "That's not true," or like, that's pushy salesman behavior, it's really not. It's really rude to assume that this is not your customer's number one obligation until they tell you otherwise. If your goal is to help more people through sales, then I hope that this tip helps you accomplish that. If you want more sales tips like these, then check the link in my bio.